morning.
Good
we're
morning.
continuing. We're continuing with all of the interviews we're doing for people who've been part of the Quincy Choral Society as we celebrate our 40th anniversary this year. This morning, we're excited to have Paul DeLorey with us. He was the 5th president of the Quincy Choral Society, and he's joined by his really good friend and longtime member, about 25 years, we think, Joan Walsh. And I'm Vicki Karns. I sometimes forget to say that. So welcome, y'all. Paul, how did you hear about QCS? How did you get involved?
Well, the way I got involved was I had sung at St. Brendan's Church Choir with Joan Walsh. I had also heard about QCS before that because I had been involved with a couple of other church choirs. Back in the 80s, I was at St. John's in Quincy, sang with Yolanda Romanelli there, and she was a member of QCS. So I had heard about it, but never really fully investigated it because I was so busy with the St. John's Choir, which was a really good choir at the time. We had over 30 members with 4 part.
Wow.
And then after that, I had then joined over to St. Joseph's, where Carla Aricchiello was the organist, and she was at the time the pianist, the accompanist for the QCS. And again, it's like, oh, I have another chorus that I'm in. I'm playing for this chorus, and oh, okay. So, but I was so busy doing other things that I wasn't looking seriously for another commitment at that point because I do 10 things at once anyways. So in the middle of all this, I'm decorating churches for 22 years. I'm working a full-time job at Verizon. I was a set dresser and worked in the scene shop down the Company Theater in Norwell for 12 years. So there was always something to do. There's never downtime. So finally, at the point where St. John's had broken up because the choir director had left, Carla got married and moved to Hanover. Then I had moved back to my homestead back in Dorchester. So then I was going back to St. Brendan's Church, and that's where Joni was singing in the little church choir there. And like other church choirs at that time in the late 80s, 90s, things were kind of winding down, and you no longer have the ability to have 4-part harmonies, and now you're just doing 2, and oh, we don't have any tenors, or we don't have any altos. And so anyway, so she was with the Quincy Choral Society. It's like, she says, you should join.
I did. And just to interject, I said, Paul, you're wasting your voice.
I know.
You've got to come to Quincy Choral Society. We need you. So
because at that point, I was a cantor in the Catholic churches in 3 different Catholic churches. And then I was also the decorator, doing all the floral arrangements. So I'd done that for 3 different churches for a total of like 24 years. Wow. So at that point, it was probably 2002 or 2001 or something like that I joined. And of course, I'm not the type of person that can just walk in and sit down and just do nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, somebody needs to set up chairs. Oh, I'll help you. So I set up chairs. And then before you know it, well, we need this and we need that. It's like, oh, I can make that. I can do this. I can do that. So within a couple of years, I was on the board. And then a couple of years later, ended up that I was president. And it's like, how did this happen? So,
because you didn't have enough jobs. That's why.
So I'm always keep busy. So we had all kinds of projects that we did. I helped out with the auction. And it ended up that I was the basket master, and I would make all the extra baskets. And then I made this big, huge signboard with flashing lights for entrance, which I still have downstairs, and I've used that at so many different functions. It's not even funny. And that's about 22 years old now. So I then took in charge because I was like one of the younger bodies. So I was doing the setting up of the risers.
Yeah.
And then at the time that I joined, our membership was growing. So when I first started, I think we had maybe like 60 or 65 members. By the time I left, we were up to 100.
Yeah.
And so we had to buy new risers, additional risers.
Yeah.
And then of course comes the challenge of, do we have room inside the church on the altar space? So here we are tying up lamps and pulling them to the side so we can squeeze the risers in. then you have to bolt them together, and then people are complaining they don't want to fall off the top shelf, so then we buy poles and have railings in the back. And so
Safety first.
there was never a dull moment. But
Oh
I
my
have to
gosh.
say, in all sincerity, I loved every single moment of it. I loved the camaraderie. It was just wonderful, wonderful people, socially and musically. And John was John was the director at the time, and he was just great. And it was just it was a treat to deal with good professional sounding in quality musicianship. And of course, Gingy is phenomenal at the piano. And trust me, when you've been in church choirs where you don't have a decent instrument or decent musicians, it just makes it all the more challenging. So between Gingy and John and all the chorus members that we had with good, strong voices, you could walk in and sit down and sight read a piece of music and get off to a damn good start right from the beginning, because you had really good sight readers who had been doing this for 30 years. And we all probably, a lot of us came from music backgrounds. I was a solo voice performance major in college, but then ended up working for the phone company for 30 years. So, I don't know how that.
Well, that's a natural transition.
So glad
Yeah,
Paul is a worker bee, that's for sure.
it is.
And also, yes, and also because he loves to get involved with everything. I mean, he just about did everything he could possibly do. And plus the fact I think the camaraderie of the whole group.
Oh, we love it.
I mean, it really is a family. It really is. And John Nichols was really very instrumental in really bringing us together as a family.
We
Hence the Uma Familia song, you know.
I think we still use the basket. You made a donation box for the auction too, and we used that for years. And we tried to hold it together with tape. It finally wore out. And did you make the bulletin board? Did you do that? You made that, the one that's as you walk into rehearsal. You made that too, right?
And he made all the Christmas boutonnieres too.
So then I made the boutonnieres. So then at that point, when I got on the board, first of all, we decided, why are we meeting with our board meetings like before rehearsal, where it's like, it's like, can we go to people's houses?
Yes.
So we started going to people's houses, and you have a little, little setup with, tea and crackers and sometimes wine.
I'm sorry, little setup. I think some people, I remember hosting it. I remember hosting it and doing like maybe a dessert. I was always glad that I did one of the first ones, because later on it's like, well, we'll have to something sweet and something salty. And then it's like, well, now we'll have a full 4-course meal with, like the bar and the buffet.
I got carried away when I had it at my house, I think. I didn't know what to have, so I had everything.
So, I mean, that made it more fun.
Yeah. Yes.
So we had on it a different night other than Monday, so that we could go to people's houses. So we did that. What else did I do? Oh my goodness.
I remember that.
So while I was president, I tried to entice them to do more than one concert. Yeah. And that was a hard sell. So we actually did do a second concert at my home church, St. Brendan's in Dorchester, once. So I believe that was around Easter time. So that was our spring concert, or it might have been the May concert. And then there was just one December concert that we did a second concert at St. Jerome's in Weymouth.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And we did that. And that was just a hard sell, because I just thought that when you work so hard and then just do one concert, that there was always inevitably going to be 2 or 3 or 4 people that were sick the day of the concert. And I felt bad that you worked so hard in the September to December session, you're always, that's about 14 rehearsals.
Yeah.
So it's a big commitment. And then you're doing all this, and then you have your Saturday morning dress rehearsal with orchestra and soloists. And then you have your Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening concert. And then for those people that miss out because they were sick or because they had a conflict or something happened, I felt bad. So I said, why can't we do more than one concert? Come on. I'm always pushing the envelope. So I said, let's try. So we did St. Jerome's, but it was such a hassle because I had to find somebody with a truck. We had to get the risers from the school gymnasium, and you have to find somebody with a key on the weekend, and then you have to get people to set up the risers down at St. Jerome's, and then we went and we had to rehearse there once, so that was bringing the risers back and forth 2 times. So it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. I think it was just a little bit too much for people. Yeah. So they just continued to just do, for each of the 3 sessions, they just did 1 concert each. So, but we always did a lot of stuff. We always had so much fun doing the March concert with the auction. We had, you know, and I remember I was fortunate because I had an opportunity to do a lot of solo work. Yeah. And it's very rewarding when you're at a small little church choir. You don't have opportunities like that
to do that,
and you don't have an opportunity to be working in a setting where you have 3 musicians or 4 instrumentalists or 10 or 12 or 20 or 24 and a professional conductor and phenomenal pianist. You know, where else are you going to get that opportunity?
Yeah,
so that's why I really stuck with it, and I stuck with it all the way up until 2001. 2010 is when I left. In September 2010 is when I joined the Boston Gay Men's Chorus. Yeah. So I was just looking for a different opportunity, and I wanted to sing with a little bit larger group. And so that group there has 230 men. And then singing in Jordan Hall at New England Conservatory is like, it's just an experience that you can't describe. You have to experience. So I have no regrets about my service at Quincy Choral. I loved every minute of it, and I'm still friendly with a lot of the people there. I mean, I had sung, for example, with Yolanda Romanelli, who just passed, and I had sung with her back in 1984 at St. John's. And then when I was, you know, and what a phenomenal voice and soloist she was back then. She was a classically trained singer over at the conservatory. And then when I was at St. Joseph's, Mark Hawley was there. Yeah. And he's still there. Yeah. He still sings and volunteers there. So musically, there's always circles that intersect somewhat. And that's you know, so I consider myself extremely fortunate that I've had all of these opportunities. So, and I never did anything by myself.
No.
I always
none of us do, right?
I always had help, and sometimes you'd have to beg. So, but that's all right. That's all right. So
around this time, isn't that when you were getting us in for the cabaret at the Lombard?
Yes, at Lombardo's.
Lombardo's.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Was that during that time? Yeah, yes. The cabarets were. That's what I thought. That was kind of your era of doing the cabarets.
Because we had known one of the owners there.
I knew Paula Lombardo very well, and so did Paul.
And I knew Bob, her husband, and so we knew them, and then so we started having the cabarets there.
That's what I thought. You guys did that, right? Yeah.
Yes, we did. We did.
You know, it's like it jogs my memory, but I can't believe all the things we did. So,
yeah.
But we had a great time.
Well, we decided to make it a little bit bigger and better because we were getting to an anniversary, scenario and whatever.
Yeah, that was coming up on I think the 30th anniversary. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I just remember, oh shoot. What was her name? She used to be the MC, and she came riding in on John Burrell's little scooter. Andrea.
Oh, Andrea.
That was one of the ones, when she was, I recall, she came driving in on the little scooter, and we were in this huge room, and that was.
I remember that.
Okay.
I remember that.
And I remember at one point we were having one of the cabarets at Lombardo's, and they always put up in the sign, they always put who was in what room, kind of thing, and what they were celebrating. And apparently somebody was having a birthday upstairs. So John Nichols took it upon himself to, let's all go up and sing happy birthday. to
Oh, I
whoever
remember
it is.
that, yes.
That's right. Oh my
Because
God.
we're all singers. Let's go
Yeah.
up and it'll be the
That's-
best
yeah.
happy birthday song they'll ever had, you know? So,
And then while I
That's
was
it.
there, my brother-in-law was a president, vice president of RPM Printing. So of course, I'm always looking to improve things. So I said,
Yeah.
well, let's get a little bit better program for the concerts. So for many years, and even after I left, it continued until he just retired last year. So it continued maybe up until maybe 4 years ago. All the programs were done, and it was a joint effort because who was the woman that did the ads? Who was the one that bought the bling for the pins?
Francine.
oh, Francine, no.
Francine and Nancy.
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 Yeah,
Honan.
Nancy. Yeah.
So Nancy thank God for Nancy. She took it upon herself to do the ads because for many years, it would be Gordon.
Yeah,
There
Gordon
would-
collects the money for it, and then Nancy did the
Yes.
programs. Yep.
And then she would put the program together to format it.
Yeah.
And then John would write the notes. It was a group effort. Martha then took it upon herself to do the beautiful pictures for the covers.
Yep.
So we had beautiful, beautiful pictures for the covers.
We did.
And then so between getting the notes on the program and the bios for Gingy and John and any of the instrumentalists, the guest instrumentalists or guest soloists, then you have to put the program notes, then you have to put the thank yous for who sponsored this, sponsored that.
Yeah.
So it's
a lot of work.
lot of work.
Oh, a lot of work.
But a great team effort, I
And
think.
there were many days that I'd be driving down to Hingham to pick up the program because
Yeah.
it just came back from the printer the afternoon of the concert. So
been there, done that.
yeah, so there was a lot of behind the scenes goings on that were going. So I'd be the first one at the church because I had to go to the rectory and get the key.
That's what Jen and I were saying when we were talking, that there's so much behind the scenes that people don't
Oh.
realize the president
Oh my
does.
God.
You know, you think,
Yeah.
oh, they get up and give announcements. It's like, you know,
No,
there's
that's
so
nothing.
much schlepping and, you know,
Oh
and that's
my
the kind of
God.
stuff that you don't mind doing, but that's the kind of stuff that does get a little tiring. So
Well, you know, that's why I think everybody should, at least for a few years, volunteer to be on the board, because then they get a
Right.
real
They get a
inside,
taste
they get
for
on
it.
the inside track and they understand really how this all works
Right.
Yeah.
and how it operates, really. You know?
Yeah, I would be the
It's a lot of
first
work.
one there to go over and
Yeah.
get the key for the rectory, and then I had to arrange to have men and women that would help me schlep the risers from
Yeah.
the balcony of the gymnasium across the street,
yeah,
down those stairs, across the street, into the church and down to the front altar, and then set them all up, and then you have to tie them together, put the railings on, everything had to be safety tested so that, I mean, when you have
Yeah.
100 people on risers, you have to make sure that they're all connected together. And I actually we had great craftsmen that, one of the craftsmen made these
Would have been Leo?
Leo.
it might have been Leo that made these brackets so we could tie the legs together so that there was no chance
Yeah.
of them separating or falling.
Mhm.
And so there was always things to do. And then of course, get this programs and then make sure that the person has the money box and they have change for the tickets. And then people that have reserved
Yeah.
tickets, envelopes, and put them in the alphabetical order. And then you had to have volunteers that would work the front of the house taking the tickets while we're in back warming up. And so there were many times that it's like I'd be jumping on the riser 2 seconds before warm up,
Yeah.
saying, okay, I'm
Oh,
ready.
there.
Like, I'm
I can
sweating
remember
bullets.
years. I can remember years when people wouldn't show up, and I would be walking onto the riser as the conductor was
concert
giving
starts.
the downbeat for the orchestra to start, because it's like
Yeah.
there's nobody back here, you know.
Right.
And
Yeah, but
Vicki,
that's-
you yourself you were very instrumental in getting a lot of people to help out too.
Oh, absolutely.
You really
yeah.
were. I mean,
Right.
it was,
I think that's what makes the success of an organization. I mean, if, like you said, you can't do it all by yourself anyway. And the
No.
more people get involved and the more they know, the better it is. And I think the other good thing is that if you've been a board member and you go off the board and you stay with the chorus, you stay involved. And so
Right.
many organizations, it's like, well, once I've been on the board or once I've been an officer, I'm done. I'm never doing another thing. And I mean, the only people who stop being involved when they go off the board are people who are no longer with the chorus.
Right.
That's
You know,
right.
like Paul, like you left to go on to another chorus. You know, Jen moved to DC. You know, God love her, we lost Steph. But when I look, especially at the presidents, especially, all of them are still very involved in doing something.
Right. Yes.
And I think that's the mark of a
Still-
really
still
good
musically
organization.
involved. Yeah.
Yeah. And the board members, if you've been on the board, you're still doing stuff. And I think that
Right.
speaks very highly of the commitment to the organization.
But I consider myself very, very fortunate that I had the opportunity to be with such wonderful people. And again, to have that music situation that otherwise I would never have been involved in. You know, where can you go to sing with a chorus and have a 22-piece orchestra and you're doing Fauré's Requiem or something?
We're
you
doing
know?
major works.
You're
yeah.
doing major works that it's like, and that was, I mean, I needed something musically challenging, far beyond just what a little teeny church choir that's only doing 2 parts now. And let's turn to page 183 and sing, you know, we gather together. Okay, 3 verses. Okay. Oh, I mean, you need something more.
Yes.
So that's, you know, so I'm glad I did what I did. I'm glad that I got involved as much as I did. I have no regrets. Were there moments that I would just walk out of the church, have just brought the key back, and I was the first one there at like 5:30 right after Mass got out, and I'd be the last one out at 11:15.
Yeah.
And then go down to what was the restaurant we went
Fowler
to?
We used to go to Fowler House.
We went to the
The Fowler House, of course, the Fowler
We went
House.
to the and I missed that. I missed that. So we
Well,
go
you
to the
can come
Fowler
back
House. And it's
anytime
like,
you want to join us at the Fowler House
Yeah.
after a concert.
and we get there, it's like, and then you're always talking about the high points, the low points. It's like, you know, it's like, oh my God, I thought John was going to explode at this point, you know. Oh, we had to restart that piece. Oh my God, you know. And it's like, oh, did you hear so-and-so came in when they weren't supposed to? Oh no, you know.
But you know, we all loved it though, and it was a lot of work, but it was very, very gratifying, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
And
it is.
you know, and you know, honestly, I will just tell you this. It's not my interview, but I first started because I went on the first trip, and I didn't sing because John asked me if I wanted to sing, and I said I would love to, but I was running 2 retirement parties and going to another one, and I said I won't be able to make the rehearsals, but I said I really would love to come on the trip. So that was the England trip, and there were about I'm not sure exactly, but it was only one busload of people I think that were there, but I liked all these people, and I said, gee, you know, this might be something that I might like to try out for and see if I can get in or whatever. And that's history as far as I'm concerned, but it's been a great ride, and I cannot wait to get back to sing. I really can't.
This
really
pandemic
can't.
is really,
Yeah.
we've been doing Zoom meetings with the chorus I'm currently in. And I mean, the executive director met with us via Zoom and, you know, just said, we don't think it's going to be in 21. It's probably not going to be until 2022 because scientifically speaking, the last group you can have get together is a singing group because you're expelling so much from your mouth with your voice, throwing your voice out the way you do, that it's the most dangerous situation as far as contagious to one another. So singing groups would be the very, very last thing. So
well, especially a group of 200 plus voices.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you've got, this is where you almost appreciate having that 5-person church choir. Yay,
I know,
we can get back.
true.
We can sing together.
Although we're not back either, so.
No, we're not either. No,
No.
not at all.
And it's just so hard because we're trying to keep the chorus together and trying to keep it vivid in everybody's minds by doing Zoom meetings and having you know, just communication via computer, via Zoom, just to keep people connected.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing, is just to keep people connected. I mean, I look at it now, it's like it's been almost a year for me since I've seen some of these people from the chorus, because I didn't sing. Our March 2020 concert was canceled 4 days before the concert.
This was ours.
Yeah.
It was the Tuesday before, and it was supposed to have We were supposed to have our dress rehearsal at Jordan Hall on that Tuesday night. And Tuesday afternoon, the state recommended cancel everything. So it's like, okay, there goes our concert.
Yep.
So it's like, whoa, we were supposed to have 2 concerts that weekend and it was canceled. So, and then the June concert, of course, never happened, and the September never happened. So that was the first December. It was really crazy because I had all this time on my hands in December that I never had before.
Yeah.
So, and it's like I wanted to have all kinds of parties and things in my apartment, and I really couldn't because you had to be so cautious. I couldn't even have my relatives. I have, there's 6 siblings in my family, and we couldn't even have each other over, and we kept meeting outside in the backyard. Thank God we have a patio back there, and you can distance. But it's just been such a hassle. And so maybe when we all get together again, maybe we really sit and appreciate what we had.
I think so. We'll have a big reunion concert.
Absolutely.
We have a new director who's never been able to direct us in a concert.
I know, I heard. It's like,
yeah,
oh my
poor
God.
Sarah's never really, never been
Yeah.
able to direct us in a concert yet. So we're excited about that.
She's wonderful. We love her. Yeah, she's so sweet.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for doing the interview, but also thank you so much for your service. You have the distinction of being the only male president of Quincy Choral Society. And so that's some kind of distinction. I'm not sure why.
I can go on the resume.
Yeah.
Well, I do miss the people, and I wish that I could sing in both groups, but the schedules overlap. There's only so many weekends in December, and with the chorus that I'm in, we work 2 full weekends, and then the weekend before that, we're down in Provincetown doing a benefit concert down there. So there's just never an opportunity to do the QCS concerts too. But I'm going to try to do one in May, because our concerts are usually in June. Yeah. So maybe
Joni and I are longtime supporters of the Boston Gay Men's Chorus too. I've been 30 years I've been going. So
well, you've been going longer than I have, but I've been going for a long time too. Yeah.
And I mean, you have to support the arts in the area.
2 nights in a row, you have one group I've seen you come at 3 in the afternoon
I do
with a group of 8, and then you come to the 8 o'clock show that night with another group of 10.
Yeah,
I can't believe it. But we have great times, and again, it's because I'm the type of person, like a lot of people in QCS, that need to be musically challenged.
Yeah.
So you need the challenge, and you have to grow. You just can't just sit back. And from somebody like myself and Joni, I mean, we're single, we're never married, so this is our social life, and so we have the time to do this, and the friendships that we have, and again, the music, the chorus is our music family.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's what makes it special.
And I think having gone on all of the trips for myself, including the one with Joshua in Montreal, I mean, I think there were a total of 11, I think, 10 with John, and the last one was Ireland. I mean, you really get to know people because you're living with them, really, and singing with them and traveling with them and having a lot of fun and doing a lot of, pub hopping and all that kind of thing. So you really get to know everybody, and it makes for a nice, strong family feeling, I think.
I never had the finances to do the trips. I remember because I put together the website also.
Yeah.
That or redid it. Yeah. It's been redone since. But we had radio buttons where we had snippets of the music as well.
Yeah.
And, so I worked with a woman by the name of McQuillan, who was in New Hampshire, and she's the one that programmed our website at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's when I put a new picture on with a black background, and then we would have to keep updating that with our future schedule. And then I remember putting together all the pages that had all the information on all the previous trips. So I remember getting pictures from people for the trips. So I had not been on the trips myself, but I felt like I wasn't away because I have people write down the storylines of all the previous trips and things. So that was another exciting thing that I got to do.
Well,
So
we're in the process of updating our website again, so we might just, if they have any questions, might have them give you a buzz since you've worked on that too.
Sure, he has nothing to do, even though he's crafting all over the place and
I know.
cleaning houses and
I'm
doing
always
whatever.
busy doing something.
Something.
But that's all right. That's what, and the funny thing is that when I look back on all the different groups that I've been a member of over the years, at the time you're in them, you never realize that these are going to be the best years.
Yeah.
Because then when you look back 20 years later, you say, wow.
It's all about memories and
Those
good
were the
friends.
best years.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I look back on my QCS years, and those were great, great, great times.
we're Uma Familia. I mean,
Uma Familia.
That's right.
that's who we are, right? It is.
Excellent.
That's right.
Thank
was
you,
great to
thank
talk to
you
you.
both so much.
Oh, you're
And,
very welcome.
Thank you, Vicki, for doing
Everybody just keep singing.
this. We will.
And to all you QCS members, keep singing, and hopefully you'll have another 40 years in front of you.
We hope so.
Excellent. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki.
Bye-bye.
Bye.